Have you ever been scrolling through games lately and just thought, why do the biggest, most expensive ones feel so empty? I mean, why does it feel like legendary studios are just closing down left and right? Well, today, we're going to dive deep into the strange, almost self-destructive world of big-budget gaming. We're going to figure out why that AAA promise feels so broken and what it all means for the future of gaming.
So let's start with this guy, Jay. Jay is basically all of us. He grew up loving video games, but lately things just feel off. The studios he used to look up to, the franchises he poured hundreds of hours into, they're all changing, and honestly, not for the better.
And he's starting to see this really scary pattern. First it was a studio like Lionhead, then Ensemble, and now even his absolute favorite, BioWare, the gold standard for RPGs, seems like it's losing its magic. It's not just one bad game. It's a symptom of something way, way bigger. So what in the world is going on?
To really get to the bottom of this, we have to go back and understand the original promise, the promise of AAA gaming.
For years, AAA meant something, right? It was like a seal of quality. It meant a game with a huge budget and a massive team was going to be a pretty safe bet. Just think about absolute masterpieces like The Witcher 3 or Red Dead Redemption 2. They were proof that when you combine massive resources with incredible talent, you could create something genuinely special.
But somewhere along the line, that whole equation got twisted. The industry started confusing spending more money with being better. A $70 price tag stopped being a guarantee of quality and just became, well, a $70 price tag. That promise that this game was worth your time, your money, and your trust, yeah, it's been broken. Over and over again.
And the symptoms of this sickness, oh man, they are everywhere. You really don't have to look very hard to find the latest high-profile disaster.
So let's take a look at the industry's most recent multi-million-dollar faceplant, a game called Highguard. It was hyped to the moon, right? A new breed of shooter, a big fancy reveal at the Game Awards. It had the flashy visuals, the veteran developers. I mean, what could possibly go wrong?
This is what went wrong. 95%. That's a 95% collapse in its player base. Almost everyone who tried it just vanished. But the truly staggering thing isn't just the number. It's how fast it all fell apart.
That 95% drop, it happened in just 2 weeks. And here's the kicker. The game was free to play. You couldn't even say the price was too high. People still rejected it, almost instantly. So how did the studio respond to this, catastrophic failure?
They blame the customer. This brilliant analogy sums up the whole experience perfectly. You're promised this sleek, luxury sports car. Then they hand you the keys to an economy sedan. And when you're confused, the dealer has the nerve to tell you that you're the problem for not being happy. It's maddening. And this has become the standard, cynical AAA playbook. Step 1, release a game that just completely misses the mark. Step 2, when players, your customers, don't like it, you blame them. You hear the same excuses every time. The market's too crowded, players just don't get innovation, or my personal favorite, it's all because of so-called review bombers. Then step 3, they act completely shocked when the company loses a ton of money and has to do layoffs. It's this toxic, self-defeating cycle.
But blaming gamers is just a distraction. A total smokescreen. If we actually look at the data, a much, much clearer picture emerges, and we can see the real culprits behind all this decay.
And this right here, this chart, is basically the smoking gun. AA game budgets are ballooning, growing at about 8% every year. But the money the industry is making, that's only growing at 5%. Costs are rising way faster than revenue. In any other industry, that's the textbook definition of a bubble, and we all know what happens to bubbles. So where is all that extra money even going? Well, according to people on the inside, it's not all going on screen to make the games better. It's getting burned up by mismanagement, bloated teams, and worst of all, executives with zero creative experience making huge creative calls. They call it the CEO's teenager dilemma. Imagine a world-class chef having their menu changed because the restaurant owner's nephew doesn't like tomatoes. It sounds absurd, but it happens all the time.
And this kind of mismanagement leads to this tragic, predictable formula. First, a big corporation buys a legendary studio we all love. Then, they give them some impossible project with a bizarre mandate that nobody asked for. Third, the game, surprise, surprise, fails. And finally, that once great studio gets gutted. The talent is laid off, and its beloved franchises are just left to rot. We saw it happen with BioWare, and we're seeing the fallout from massive mergers like Microsoft and Activision right now.
So the bottom line is this. The entire business model is fundamentally broken because it completely misunderstands one simple concept: value.
Think about it. Every time you buy a game, you're doing a quick subconscious calculation in your head. Is the value I'm getting worth the price I'm paying? High value for a low price? Awesome. That's a winning deal. But a high price for low value? That's a losing proposition. And consumers are smart. They avoid those like the plague. It's just simple economics.
And this is exactly where AAA gaming has gone so horribly wrong. You used to get a complete, finished, polished game for your money. Now, you get a $70 entry fee, and then you're immediately hit with asks for a season pass, DLC, and microtransactions. The price is shot through the roof, but the perceived value has just cratered. They've marched themselves squarely into that big red losing proposition box.
Okay, I know, it all sounds like doom and gloom, but here's the twist. The collapse of the old guard is creating a massive vacuum, and someone is absolutely stepping in to fill that void.
Because from the rubble of this old, broken industry, a renaissance is happening. The indie and the AA scene is absolutely thriving. We're talking about games made by smaller teams with a tiny fraction of the budget, and they aren't just competing with the AAA giants, they are flat out beating them. They're selling millions of copies and winning the exact same awards the big studios spend hundreds of millions chasing.
And the reason they're succeeding isn't some big mystery. It's actually incredibly simple. They're not chasing trends or trying to please shareholders with sneaky monetization schemes. They are laser-focused on one thing: making a fantastic game that players will genuinely love. They succeed because they are built for the customer, not against them.
And that really gets to the core of the issue, doesn't it? The painful irony in all of this is that these big corporations bought these legendary studios because their art was profitable. But in their relentless, desperate chase to maximize every last penny of that profit, they've squeezed the very magic, the very soul out of the art itself. And it leaves us with one final crucial question to think about. When art becomes just another tool on a spreadsheet to maximize shareholder value, what is it exactly that gets lost?